Hello and welcome to the Savage Movie Night Podcast. Today we are here to have a little special bonus episode to talk all about Freakier Friday. Or maybe not all about, but definitely talk about it. So I am your making things up as I go along for once and letting someone else take the lead host, Adam. Joining me, as always, is my biggest fan of Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan co-host, Kristen. How are you doing, Kristen?
Hey, Adam, that's me. Big fan.
Well, I think that'll not only be evident from our previous episode, but as we do this, and possibly giving the audience a sneak preview for what might be coming up, your pick
fall.
for October. Yeah, exactly. But the show wouldn't be complete without our co-host who wishes we would just move on to another property, anything other than this franchise, co-host Rob. How are you doing, Rob?
I'm great. Let's get this over with. Let's go.
We got to talk about it. You know, it's fresh. It's new.
So fresh and so clean. We want to do something a little different, a little bonus episode, a little addendum, since we just talked about Freakier Friday, literally just hit the box office this past weekend. We're recording this on the 14th of August. So something also a little fresher. So we're not going to talk all about the production history and the whole cast, but and only one of us has seen it. Only Kristen has seen the movie. I chose to only see Weapons over the weekend. Rob chose to stay at home. We'll talk about Kristen's thoughts and just how it did, and just give people a little moose bouche before maybe doing a fuller episode in 5 or 10 years on it. With that, I'll hand things over to Kristen. She can start leading the way.
Yeah, so Freakier Friday, for those who aren't familiar, is the new sequel that just came. Well, it just came out this year in 2025, and so that the first one came out in the 2000s, so very, very much a blast from the past. But you could really tell that this movie was a labor of love, especially from Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis. I know, like, from Instagram posts and stuff, that I think Lindsay Lohan was like really instrumental in actually making this movie happen. So that's pretty cool, especially because she is kind of getting back into acting, kind of getting her groove back. So it's nice to know that she got to do something like this that was so fun. And Jamie Lee Curtis also had lots of fun. So it's, it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's like reinventing the wheel. I don't think it's, the most iconic thing you're going to see in your life. But if you're a fan of Freaky Friday, it's a super fun time. And it does manage to be a little different. Like, it's a little bit different of a setup this time, but it's also kind of the same. So, like, there's still an upcoming wedding, but it's Anna this time who's getting married, but she's a single mom getting engaged to this British guy who's a widow, and he has a daughter. So it's a blending of families, and the two daughters are the ones that don't really get along. And so it's because of that. It's very much more about the younger girls understanding each other and why their parents want to get married versus, like, Tessa and Anna needing to learn anything. When it comes to because the gimmick this time is that there's two body swaps. So Tessa and Anna switch with the two daughters, and so it's because of that. It's like a lot of the gags where Tess and Anna are in the younger girls' bodies are just like, wow, I'm young. I can get up from the floor and my knees don't hurt. I can eat French fries, which, kind of they do in the first movie too. But like when it comes to a lot of the actual like plot development, it's very much centered on the two younger girls. And when they are in Tess and Anna's body. So it's kind of confusing because like obviously Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis are starring in the film, but they're pretending to be the gag. But and
that seems to be like the raison d'etre for this project in the first place, is so that Jamie Lee and Lindsay Lohan can get together and just have goofy fun pretending to be teenagers, in their own bodies. And that's also why, it makes like script sense to not necessarily have their characters, the true characters of Tess and Anne in the daughter's body really have to go through a life lesson. It can just be them going, hey, we're in this ride, we might as well enjoy it while we're here, kind of thing.
Yes.
Because it sounds like this is just me speculating from what I know of the project, especially from what you've described. The two teen actresses probably don't have the same level of screen time, as most of the screen time is probably devoted to Lohan and Jamie Lee, correct?
Yeah, like it does split off at different points, but like I really yeah, I would say it's more split, but like it can get confusing in my head because I'm like, yeah, I'm remembering like these characters did this. I'm like, was that Tess and Anna's body, or were those the kids at that point? You know, so I'm like trying to
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
in my brain. But yeah, so like I don't want to give too much of the plot away for those who do want to watch, but like there are a lot of legacy characters that come back for this. One of the biggest ones that was in a lot of the marketing was Chad Michael Murray coming back as Jake. And so, for anyone who's wondering, I guess, if that's the person that Anna would be marrying, that's not the case. He was just her first love. They're still friends. He owns this record shop. He's very music oriented. And so it's fun to have him show back up. And like Chad Michael Murray, I mean, I don't know how old he is now, but he still looks great. And so, you know, he's been very typecasted now as an adult. I mean, he was typecasted when he was young, and now he's doing it now where it's like, instead of being the young hot guy, he's just the older hot guy, you know? So like, that's kind of the gag in this, is just like the daughters know that Anna has a history with this guy. And so they're thinking, oh, he's a solution for our parents to break up. Let's bring him back into the mix and things will get messy and complicated. But like, Anna, you quickly learn that like Anna and this new guy, oh gosh, I don't even know the guy's name, but Manny Jacinto plays him. And like and they have really good chemistry, and it's really fun to just kind of see the daughters and like Anna and Tess all kind of learn and see like how much this guy is devoted and wanting to join the family. It's very reminiscent of Ryan wanting to kind of blend in with the family and do what he needs to do to make it work. And he also makes an appearance, by the way. Ryan is still married to Tess in this. And he's just barely in it. He's like playing pickleball at one point and, you know, just kind of hanging around. He wants to go on some trip, and Tess wants to like stick around because Anna is a single mom. They never reference who the dad is or anything. So like in this storyline, Tess is really like stepping up to help raise the daughter.
Yeah. It's clearly someone between, it's not Chad Michael Murray, it's someone who happened after.
Yeah.
And just a few quick notes. Chad Michael Murray will actually be 44 in just about 10 days from when we were recording this. He's got a birthday coming up. And then Manny Cito's character is Eric Reyes.
Eric, thank you. Yeah, I could not remember his name, but yeah, he's really they really ham it up, like different things about him. They're just like, he's a hot guy, and it's like, yeah, thank you, we get it. Like nobody needs to be reminded that Manny Jacinto is a hot guy. You know, it's funny. You know, they really play into the gag of it. But yeah, so other characters that were back besides the main ones, we do get a brief cameo of Pepe and Pepe's mother, who are at Anna's bachelorette at one point, and Maddie and Peg, the two from her band Pink Slip. Pink Slip actually plays like sort of kind of a role in this, because another element of this that's interesting. So Anna, she is a manager for a young up and coming artist. And so the artist, I never remember the actress's name, but she was in that Never Have I Ever show on Netflix. And she is like the main pop star in this that Anna is managing. And she's a big fan of Anna's previous band, Pink Slip, who she left. She left that group when she had her daughter to basically become a mom and raise the daughter. But like, they're still friends and things like that. And she's still interested in music. So there is like obviously I don't want to give away how much Pink Slip is in it, because it's a very fun thing to discover. But there are some elements of it in it, especially in the third act, that is really fun for fans, especially people who love the songs. Definitely, for sure.
The character name you were looking for is Ella, and I could
Ella,
not.
thank you.
I'm not familiar with the actress's name, and I don't want to try pronouncing it for the first time here on the
Yes,
show.
that
So
that is also why I can't remember, because I know I would butcher her last name. So, apologies, but she is a very talented actress and she's really fun in this. It's very, very comedic. But yeah, so we also have Mr. Bates, who makes an appearance because, like I said, some things are comparable. They do add elements from Freaky Friday into the sequel, like people end up in detention, and that's where Mr. Bates comes in. And by that point, the people are already swapped. And so Tess is like, how are you still working? How are you not retired by now? Like, get out of here. Like she's like mad that he is still at the school, which is a funny little gag. And Harry also is in it very briefly. He makes like the shortest of shortest speeches at a dinner, but it's still nice to have those little moments with some of the characters and see them come back. It's funny because like Ryan, I'm gonna butcher his last name, Malgarini, I think. So he's who is Harry, and I swear he's got like the kid face just on an adult body. It's crazy how that happens sometimes. It's like somebody grows up, but they basically just the same.
we call that Haley Joel Osment syndrome.
Yes. Yep. And so other fun Easter eggs that I think that people will like. So if you're a fan of Lohan and this era, or even younger, you've probably watched Parent Trap. And a big part of Parent Trap is Meredith Blake, the new woman coming into their father's life. And that's Elaine Hendricks. And she actually makes an appearance in this film. So that I won't say where, but she does have an appearance in this. So that's a fun Easter egg. And her name is Blake in this. The character's name is Blake. So another reference there. And there was an outfit worn by Tess in Freaky Friday that appears in Freakier Friday, and it's not like in the background. It's very in your face. It's very much a gag, but once again, don't want to give the gag away. It is really good, but there is that for fans to go into. And then, of course, Anna also tells her daughter to make good choices, which is also a reference to Tess saying it to her in the original. And so there's a lot of little fun Easter eggs like that, but I feel like they don't hit you over the head. I feel like when it comes to legacy, things like this, it can get really annoying where it's like they're not even trying to do anything original. I think it was nice having it different this time where it's like we're trying to blend two families that have two kids. And also another, I guess another conflict in this is that because the fiance and his daughter are blending into the family, she wants to go back home to London where they're from when they get married. And the other daughter, Anna's daughter, does not want that. And so that's a big contention of like, well, I don't want to be uprooted, but I don't want to integrate into this family here. I want to go back home. And so like when I'm talking about like a lot of figuring stuff out about each other, that's very much a big part of it, is just understanding each other, understanding each other's families, and then wanting to come together to be a family in the end.
So the body swapping thing,
yeah,
my favorite, right?
Yeah, your favorite.
So, right. I'm such a big fan of. But so are we to believe that they have not done such a second time up until this moment?
Yes, I forgot about how it's done this time. Thank you for the reminder. So yeah, it's not racist this time. It's actually very it's actually very on brand for the current climate, because it's just like a woman who is just she's a tarot card reader, but she also does like 50 other jobs. She's just got like 10 million side businesses, and it's really funny because it's just like a person who happens to be at the place where they're having the bachelorette, and she's like, oh, like I'll give you a reading, and they're like, no, like we're good, we don't want one. And she ends up like saying something ominous, and and then she ends up talking to the two girls, and so that's how it happens. It's more just like because of this reading from it instead of a fortune cookie element. So it's like Pepe and Pepe's mother are there, but they aren't playing a part in the plot this time.
It's kind of veering back to the original Freaky Friday of it just happened, no explanation.
And also like fans of the original movie aren't going to question it because like they already know the drill. They know what to expect. So it was nice this time that they decided to change it a little bit.
Sorry, when I reference the original, I'm referencing the book that we talked about in the episode proper. The original book didn't
Yeah,
have a real explanation for how it happened. The mother
right.
just made it happen. And yeah, I think anybody listening to this probably listened to the episode and know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I mean,
So
and there's also like a running joke like throughout it where it's like Anna and Tess like they're like, yeah, we've been through this before. So like the two daughters like try to like bang into each other like they do in the first one, and they're like, yeah, we already tried that, doesn't work, you know. So there are a lot of things like that where it's like they're like not even freaked out, like, you know, the daughters are freaking out and they're just like, yeah, we've been through this before. Unfortunately, we're going through it again. Like, oh, I woke up in the wrong body again. What the heck? Just another Tuesday.
that's where I was saying, like, I think Tess and Anne and the daughter's body, there's less plot there just because it's more them just being like, we've been through this before, we're just going to enjoy it, kind of thing. So,
Yeah, like we'll look for a way to fix it, but until then, we're just gonna eat cheese
yeah.
fries and rent the mobile scooters and stuff.
Yeah. But
Do you
sorry,
feel
Ray.
that this that Freakier Friday is for just the fans of the previous movie, or does this make sense and gain new fans if you just watch this for the first time and never saw Freaky Friday?
I'm thinking that it could still work maybe for new fans because like it is a Disney movie, so it already has that like youthful element to it. So I think that like, and especially with like when this came out, the people who grew up with this are starting to become parents, so they will be showing their kids the original and then probably interested in this new one. But like, I mean, I think that you probably could see this one without seeing the original. You just miss out on some of the references, which isn't a big deal. You're just meeting a lot of characters that you're like, am I supposed to know who this is? You know, because like, I mean, when it comes to that kind of thing, like it's especially when it comes to like Jake or like Mr. Bates or like the members of Pink Slip and stuff. It's like it's more fun if you are familiar with the story, but I'm sure that just any regular kid would still
Got
find
it.
it funny, especially for the gag elements, you know.
Well, there's definitely been a lot of PR, and I remember when like the PR started. We're not that far away from when we did the Freaky Friday episode, and I wasn't the biggest fan. And when all this PR started, I was like, man, I started having feelings like, man, maybe I just played myself, and I'm the only one who felt that way. It was kind of funny to me, like.
Well, like for me, you know, I this is one of those movies I'm probably going to wait and catch it on Disney Plus. Like just I enjoyed the first, the 2003 Freaky Friday, but not enough to make it one of my trips to the theater. Even though I'm trying to make more of those this year. Um,
Yeah, I
that
will
I've
say
got.
it was a fun theater experience though. Definitely a fun theater experience and a lot of people just, laughing and having a good time together, which is always one of the best things about going to the theater is just having other people enjoy the thing that you're enjoying.
I know you also looked up, like how it performed, and we'll talk about that, at least in its opening weekend, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But it does have a tangential connection to one of the other movies that's at the box office at the moment. That's also a legacy movie, more of a legacy reboot, but also a sequel, because you talked about there was the Parent Trap cameo.
Hmm.
In The Parent Trap, the mother of Lindsay Lohan's character was played by Natasha Richardson, who at the time was married to Liam Neeson. She, of course, tragically passed away a few years later, or maybe not a few years, like maybe like 10 years later, uh, in a skiing accident. And he's been single ever since. Liam Neeson is in the new Naked Gun movie, which is very good. I saw it in theaters, but part of the PR for that, it's come out that he is dating his co-star from that movie, Pamela Anderson.
Yeah. It's been a big, I mean, it's blockbuster season, really. It's
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
a lot of big stuff's coming out right now. So yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah. So when it comes to the box office numbers, like, they came in second, for the opening weekend, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, for
Right
the
behind,
domestic box
yeah,
office, yeah.
yeah, for the domestic box office, they came in second, only behind Weapons, which is the new Zach Kreger horror movie, which is also very good. And I actually, we're talking about Freakier Friday, but it is nice to see a horror movie doing so well in the box office. I think Barbarian really changed a lot of people in, or got people into horror a little bit more. Just like, I think that horror is doing really well right now, and it's very exciting to see. But it is exciting that a legacy movie like this is doing well, and it's not just people being like, oh, well, I'm not going to bother seeing that or whatever. Even if it had been a Disney Plus thing, a lot of people still would have watched it, because when Hocus Pocus 2 came out, that one got straight to Disney Plus. That one wasn't very good,
Mhm.
but that's, but
Yeah, yeah.
I think they made the right call putting this in theaters, because I mean, it made 29 million gross in the between like the 8th and the 10th, but like overall it grossed 46 million dollars worldwide in its opening weekend, with like about, so it's like when I took the screen grab, it said 29 million, but it's closer to like 31 million, and then it has 15 million internationally.
Yeah, and it's against a budget of like 42 to 45 million. You figure,
Yeah, so they've
God,
already
it's a
made it back
big,
within the weekend.
well, not really, because you figure usually it, it used to be the rule of thumb was it was a 50-50 split between theaters and the studios. So, like, if the box office was 29 million, the studio itself actually only brought in, 14.5 million. So, like, that would actually be the amount that would count to its recoupment. Um, but these days, they'll a lot of times have deals where, like, especially Disney, because of their power through pricing with Marvel, will have deals where it's like 90-10 for the first weekend, and then slowly backs down to 50-50 or even more in favor of the theaters as time goes on. But that's because these days, most movies don't have legs outside of the first 2 weeks, maybe three if you're lucky. I mean, literally, Superman is already coming to home release this Friday, and it's barely been out a month, and that performed very well at the box office. So um, I would say it probably needs another week or so to recoup at that level of performance, to recoup its production budget. And then once you add in marketing, that's a more nebulous topic of how much did they truly spend on marketing. And for a movie this size, it could be an additional 20 to 30 million dollars, or even
But
more. I mean,
you're just accounting for the domestic, so there's also
well, no,
international.
no, but I mean,
Right.
like, international is $46 million. You figure that you have that at like $23 million. That's about half your production budget of between 42 and $45 million. So you'd need another performance like that to approximate getting to your production budget being covered, and then you'd probably need another week or so like that to cover your uh, marketing costs. But that's also focusing solely on the box office leaves out, other streams of revenue, such as the home release, digital sales and rentals, and what money it makes going on to platform providers, sales to networks for broadcast, and stuff like that, and other ways movies make money. But it's performing well.
As I said, tons of great PR, and also just peripheral, just buzz and different articles, and I don't know exactly why, but I've also like, is there controversy going on? There was something going on where it felt like Jamie Lee Curtis was having to either explain herself or wasn't happy. Do you have any insight into like what that's all about?
Yeah, so I tried looking into this when you asked me about it the other day. And so I think it's really just a lot of the headlines I saw was just there was a negative review from Time that basically was just saying that it was a waste of a sequel, embarrassing, just like really crapping on it. And saying that like nobody could like the movie essentially. And then she was like, well, I like the movie and I had a blast making it. Like there's lots of people that like this movie. And so it's really just her defending her stance like in the movie and like not thinking that it's an embarrassing role to have at all because she's had a lot
Ah,
of fun making it. So
okay.
yeah. So I think
Okay.
that's what it was. Cause like, I think you had asked about the ending and I was like, there's
Maybe
nothing
it's
like
just because it's the
controversial about it.
caliber. Like maybe it's just because it's Jamie Lee Curtis addressing it that makes it stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's
Yeah.
that doesn't sound like a really big deal.
And it's like she's done her share of fun stuff, but also serious stuff. And I think she can have fun in at this point in her career, and it's not
You
gonna
know,
destroy it.
really, when I think about it, right, this is like, I'm feeling old, but over many years, decades, she actually gets criticized a lot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
All the
well, I mean,
movies.
like, but I mean, she's had very, harsh urban legends about her, focused her way, that were, very mean. She's one, I think the reviewer said something about like Jamie Lee Curtis was disgracing her Oscar or something like, which so many actors have done. This doesn't even qualify, but you know,
It's
I think
2025. You can do whatever.
Right.
she's not, she hasn't gone full Cuba Gooding Jr. on her Oscar at this point.
Omar.
That,
And she's still continuing to do amazing roles like The
right. Well,
Bear and stuff like that, where she's getting Emmy nominations. So like, she's
yeah,
she's got a range of
yeah.
stuff.
And I think the Jamie Lee's comment was more in relation to the Time article wasn't just negative; it was written in an overly, like, it was written more in like the netizen, like angry video game nerd nostalgia critic
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
style of hyperbolic, you know, criticism.
mm.
And it is my understanding. I have not seen it. I am talking out my butt a bit about
Yeah,
this.
like I think it's like verbatim what she said was like seems very harsh. Like, is how she like phrased how
That
her
explains all
reaction.
the chatter. Yeah.
The response I have seen backed up Curtis's feeling that it was overly harsh, that and especially in light of the fact most reviews were very positive on the film, and the audience score has been very positive. So especially to be saying things like no one can like this is pure dreck, the people should be ashamed, like that is just not being backed up by facts.
Right. And also like it's a kids movie at the end of the day. You
Yeah.
have to like it's on Disney. Like Disney has made some more like adult stuff, but for the most part it's kid oriented, it's teen oriented. Like you have to keep that into account. It's not gonna like change your brain chemistry like a historical movie or something, but that's
Yeah.
fine. We
Yeah.
need we need a mix of types of movies. And
Exactly.
yeah, and I think it works because I think a lot of people were receptive to it because they could just tell, I think, that like both Lindsay and Jamie Lee were just having a blast. They were having so much fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made the movie fun to watch. Like, even if there were moments where you were kind of cringing, where you're kind of like, that joke was kind of dumb. I don't like that. It's just, it's nice knowing that they had so much fun. And they actually have bloopers play at the end of the movie, like old style. You know how you used to always have
Yeah.
Nice.
the bloopers
Yeah.
play at the end? Yeah. And that felt very nostalgic as well. So it was fun to just see just how much fun they had behind the scenes trying to get some of these scenes done and things like that. So, yeah.
Like that seems to be very much the reason for the movie is for Jamie Lee and Lindsay to have fun. And also, we kind of talked about it the other day, like, uh, uh, at this point, both for, Jamie Lee for the amazing career she's had, and for Lindsay Lohan for all the crap, society and the media, we put her through, that nearly destroyed her. I'm going to let them if they want to do something and just have fun, more power to them. It's sort of like, I feel like Keanu Reeves has earned the right to kind of do any project
Hmm.
he wants, even
Hmm.
if I don't love the choice, even if it's maybe not for me. But even when it is for me, like I really did like the new Bill and Ted Face the Music. Especially when it was released, it hit me right in the feels, because it was in the middle of the pandemic. It was just a bit of a nice warm hug I needed, even if I also can admit that surprisingly he can't do Ted very well because he's got too much gravitas in his performance now. He can't do laid back Ted anymore. Um, but if you said like he just wanted to like have fun with Alex Winter and make Bill and Ted movies the rest of his career, even if he's, or just, something super dumb, I would say he is, let him do whatever he wants. He's kind of earned it.
Yeah, and it's the same for Lindsay Lohan because it's like she's in her comeback era. So like let her do the fun stuff, let her do the things that are interesting to get her back on the horse, back into it. And if she wants to do the more serious stuff down the line, she can. If she wants to keep doing fun, Disney Plus type stuff or whatever, she can do that too.
Yeah, I like that point you just made, and for some reason, I'm thinking that to this day, Sean Penn can still do Jeff Spicoli, but that's a whole other topic.
Uh,
And
uh,
another fun fact I learned was that this movie is Lindsay Lohan's most successful opening weekend yet, which is crazy. I don't know if that's what an article said. I didn't fact
No,
check
that
it,
makes that
but
actually makes sense because it,
yeah.
yeah.
it, it did. I mean, this is doing pretty good.
Yeah. Well, and
Hmm.
also like we learned kind of with the original Freaky Friday and no, not the original, the 2003,
2003.
yeah, Curtis and Lohan one, and with Mean Girls, like their box office returns weren't actually that big. Um, like for Freaky Friday, it made like $160 million, which was good at the time, but it's not huge, by any standards. And even Mean Girls was $130 million, a year later. So it's not like they were just you know Titanic or even Avatar or Avengers, where they are just it feels like everywhere and just absolutely dominating. But they, what even more outside of the raw numbers, they clearly made a cultural impact. And people talk about cultural impacts, and that's like one of the criticism of the Avatar franchise is they make $1 billion at the box office, but you know there's no cultural impact the way a movie that makes far less, like Freaky Friday or Mean Girls, has had a huge impact on the culture.
It's funny that you called that out about Mean Girls because you can tell that it was more about the cultural impact, and I saw that. I've never seen it. I saw that as something I could watch, meaning it was presented pretty quickly on my menu as something to watch consistently for like 2 years. Like it was just always something there. Like it was positioned in front of me, and you could just tell it wasn't because of my like what the things that I watch. It was just part of the cultural zeitgeist, right? So
Yeah, I have eventually saw it probably within a few years after it came out, just because people were talking about it enough, even though it wasn't, my thing. And, like just to get references people kept making to it, if nothing else,
Mean Girls was also just another aspect of growing up. It played all the time on TV. And so, yeah, like another big childhood one for me, or I guess like middle school.
Well, we talked about the overlap between the two projects because it's the same director as well, between the Freaky Friday remake and Mean Girls. Yeah, it's just interesting. How some movies in the memory outperform their box office legacy. It's the same way some movies win all these awards, and it's something we've talked about doing as like supplemental for the show at some point in the future, is like maybe looking back at like the 1987 Academy Awards, or the 1970 Academy Awards or something, and just going, okay, how many of these movies are we actually familiar with? And not just winners, but like even nominees, because like there'll be times you'll look at like a category and be like, even me, who's a bit of a nerd about this kind of stuff, and not to toot my own horn, knows a lot of movies. Here's a couple I've never even heard of, and that means to your average person, they've got to be really obscure, and that they've just passed into the sands of time. Is always kind of interesting.
So, Kristen, what's your final outcome? Is Jamie Lee Curtis going to have an issue with you, or is she going to be cool with your review?
I don't think she'll have an issue with me. I had a fun time watching the movie. I really liked it. Yeah, I would like if we're talking like theater experience, I would rate it higher. But like realistically, I understand that it's not a masterpiece, so it would probably be like maybe a 7.5 out of 10 for me. 7.5, 8 or something. 8. I feel like 8 would be like a little high, but like if we're talking like enjoyment, 8 because
Yeah.
I had so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean that kind of gets back into like why, like on Letterboxd, I only do did I like it or not. I don't try to get into the gradient of was this actually a masterpiece? Because there can be movies like I can acknowledge are very good, very well made, very well acted, that I just don't like. And then there can be other movies that are just absolute trash. Some of which I've name checked many times in previous episodes, so I don't need to do it here. But that I will say I liked because I they're enjoyable to me. So I totally get that. That how much you actually enjoy it plays a part into your rating beyond just a technical evaluation of the film. But yeah, no, I'm glad you got a chance to see it. I will probably personally wait to check it out on Disney Plus. Um, that I chose. I mentioned earlier I chose to see Weapons instead, which was also a good choice. But I'm traveling this weekend, and then I've got other movies coming out that I need to try and see. And for the most part, if that's one thing I hate is like you really have to go see something opening weekend or the weekend after, because otherwise it's almost gone,
Yeah,
after
it
that.
can be difficult. But yeah, if
So,
anyone listening is a fan of the original, has been curious about the sequel and if it's worth your time, I would say that if you're a fan of the original, it'll be a fun time. It's a fun like revamp of the things. I think it does enough to make it unique and stand on its own, but also like it's very heavy. It's very weighed down by the legacy of it all, but not to the point of, let's say, like a Jurassic World movie where it's like they're just going to throw a bunch of references at you and you're supposed to care. This one, I feel like it's tastefully done. It's a lot of fun. So if you have been curious about it, even if you don't get to go to the theater, definitely check it out when it comes to streaming. Definitely worth a watch if you're a fan.
movies that deserve the review of being called an embarrassment to all involved is the new Jurassic World, which I only went to see in theaters because a friend and his family were going, and it was a chance to hang out with him.
Maybe we'll talk about some other new releases at some point like this because there are a lot of interesting ones out
Oh
there.
yeah, yeah. Well, and I have made a concentrated effort since seeing Sinners. Uh, and it was something I'd been thinking about before that, but to see more movies in theaters, and also to be more judicious in which movies I give my time and attention to, especially for the theatrical experience. So trying to, favor more original movies, smaller movies, um, the movies that represent more of what I'd like to see made. So, skipping Thunderbolts, waiting for Disney Plus, skipping Fantastic Four, waiting for Disney Plus. Admittedly, I did see Superman in theaters, but that's because I'm a big James Gunn fan, and that honestly would be one of my top 3 movies I've from 2025 so far. It'd be like that, Sinners and Weapons at the moment. But regardless of your opinion on movies, whether you only want to see the big blockbusters, the legacy sequels, the original stuff, watch movies in theaters, at home, whatever way you get to watch movies, because they're fun.
Good to support the industry, and
Yep.
definitely the originals. But yeah, that's, I think, what all we have for you today about Freakier Friday. Hope you check it out. I hope you enjoyed this little fun version of our episode that we haven't done before. Yeah. And I got to be in the driver's seat this time. Maybe you enjoyed it better. No, I'm just kidding.
Definitely.
Now Rob's plotting his chance to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he's got to think of one.
Yeah, we all get a turn. So awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Kristen, for that dive into Freakier Friday. And like I said, who knows? Maybe this is just the little bridge. And once enough time has passed, like 5 or 10 years, we'll do a full episode on Freakier Friday. But until that time, thanks so much to you and Rob. Thanks so much to our editor, Javi, and the entire Savage Content team. Thanks so much to you, the audience, for listening. Remember to give us 5 stars, leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe, ring the bell, leave a comment, all the good YouTube things. Until next time, I've been your host, Adam, and we'll see you on the Savage Movie Night Podcast.